service a lot of people actually don't think about until they actually really need it.
Yeah.
And whenever they call the 911 system, which actually is this their 50th year that 911 system has actually been in place, they're hoping somebody's on the other side to pick up that phone call and answer their need. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what 911 is supposed to do. They're picking up the call, they're analyzing the call, and they're sending out the appropriate services, be it ambulance, fire, or police. The thing, it doesn't stop there after that phone call. You're hoping that on the other side that there's someone there to actually answer the alarm to give the appropriate services to that person in need.
Yeah.
Well, as we see today, that service is actually, I hate to use the word, but it's dying. When I started almost 50 years ago in the emergency services, I served as a medic for Citizens, and I also still serve as a firefighter for Clymer. But back then we had 365 volunteers ready to do their service for the citizens of this Commonwealth. As of today, we have probably around 30,000. Now that's a huge, huge number that we've lost.
Yeah.
And your average person out there that's actually providing the service, especially in the fire service, is 50 and above. We do have younger people coming in, but not like it should be.
Yeah.
The bad thing about this whole thing is not only the volunteer part of it is actually going down, but also the revenue part of it is also going down. So as you mentioned, the Citizens Ambulance is coming on here Wednesday for the campaign. Mm-hmm. I'm here to tell the residents of Indiana County that they actually need to support this service. And the only reason I say that is Indiana County has a unique service. They have Citizens Ambulance as county-wide. From one endpoint to the other endpoint of the boundaries of this county. There is no other service except for Salzburg, Young Township, and Conemaugh is served by LifeStat. Mm-hmm. Which means that if something would happen to those services, LifeStat or Citizens, those services are not within the county anymore. They're going to be coming from outside the county. And I'll just give you an example. Jefferson County up north in Punxsutawney. Right now, I believe they used to have 8 services up there. They're down to 4 or 3 providers. Mm-hmm. Overall, ambulance service in Jefferson is approximately 5 or 6. Now, they're experiencing it, and the thing that is worries me, that if something would happen to our county-wide services, that ambulance has got to come from somewhere else, which means another county, which means we're depleting another county of their service that they're providing and paying for to help Indiana County residents. So I understand it's a service, but it's a cost. A cost comes with the service. And that is not only Citizens Ambulance, but that's our fire service, and that's our law enforcement. And most of Indiana County is actually supported by the Pennsylvania State Police. But you've got to remember, you still need the fire service, and you still need the ambulance. And what people don't understand, and a lot of people just think it's county-wide, that the county pays for it, under the county code, the county is not required to provide those services. That requirement must come from your local government, be it a township or a borough. Mm-hmm. And again, we understand we're all struggling. But at some point in time, that service has got to be paid for if you still want it.
Yeah. And, you know, just listening to yesterday, there was a fire in Center Township. A vehicle crashed and was burning. And as they got there, there was ammunition inside the vehicle, and it was popping off because the fire was hot. And you understood the dangers that people take. And I was listening to the scanner that was unfolding, and one fire company was called out. Sorry, there's nobody available to drive the truck this morning. Exactly. So because people get rated and qualified in order to do certain tasks within a fire company. For Citizens Ambulance Service, of course, they're stretched all over this county. They continue to, and I'm talking way too much. You guys need to be talking. But you know, their services, they rotate and they cover everybody else. An ambulance goes out from this end of the county, then somebody else comes and covers for them. It's sort of like watching an NFL secondary at work. and it's pretty amazing. Shireen, of course, you're quite familiar with the way that emergency services work in Indiana County too, and it's an amazing system, but it's pretty fragile, isn't it?
I agree, and I've learned a lot over my last 7+ years. And Commissioner Keith really knows. I mean, that is in his DNA practically is emergency services. So I really appreciate his knowledge on that. And it is a dire situation, and it's statewide, probably nationwide, really. And so we kudos to those folks who are doing these jobs. And you mentioned about basically the volunteer system has been literally decimated. We are at a tenth or maybe less than what it was some few decades ago, and that is, and the age, the median age that are serving, it is I don't even know the word. It is alarming to say the least that that our folks are out here, and we in rural areas have those special added challenges of being rural.
Yeah.
So kudos, and Commissioner Gorman and I know we all go to as many of the volunteer fire department celebrations and dinners and fundraisers as we can, because how else are we going to support those folks? And they are just working so hard. Yeah. So kudos to all those volunteers that do that work every day. It's not just when there's a fire. There's a lot that goes into being prepared for those fires, those emergencies, all those things. And I always mention too that it's not just when there's emergencies that these folks show up. They show up for people in their time of need during holidays, during deaths in the family, all those kinds of things as well.
Training, equipment, insurance, all of those things are a part of the formula. Robin, you're quite aware of that too.
Yep. Yeah, and kudos to both of my colleagues. They did a great job with this issue. And one of our intents is trying to get word out to our people that we really haven't been ignoring it. It's just an issue that has crept up on us. You lose volunteers, you can't beg people to volunteer and then force them to do it. And so it's a change in our society. I think the issue we want people to understand is, yes, there's enormous costs, Todd, that nobody ever sees, right? And that's in any business, any service. So they have to have insurance. Remember, they don't get paid. So they are, doing gun bashes. They're doing bingo. They're doing every kind of fundraiser you can imagine to pay for trucks that have, by and large, gone up about 35% in the last 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So, what may have been a $200,000 or a $400,000 tanker truck is now even more exorbitant. So it takes a lot of money, a lot of effort. Like Shireen said, I want people to understand, and Mike said this both, and I want to tie this together. 911 is just one piece. I think when we talk about emergency services or 911, everybody throws it all in there together. Mm-hmm. And it isn't. It is the communication dispatch network to get then your either ambulance services, your fire, or your police, and they are all separate. They all need funds. They all need the equipment to respond. And then you can layer onto that what is very real to all of us right now, just across our border in Ohio. It's called the hazmat team. Yeah. And again, when the phone rings, you hope that it never does. But when it does, you better hope that there's somebody willing to come and do that horrible job and try and help people in need. And it isn't just fire that firefighters come out for. They can come out for, you think you have a carbon monoxide problem in your house. I did this on literally Christmas morning a couple of years ago. I had a faulty detector, but two of my fire chief and another guy, I won't say who his name is, came out like pronto. And on Christmas morning, and I kept apologizing. Oh, I'm so sorry. And they said, don't be sorry. We're glad we're here, and we're better safe than sorry. These people are amazing. They come out for water to try and get water out of people's basements and houses. And it is so in their DNA, and I thank them and their families every time we're in front of them, because they are the boots on the ground, everyday heroes in our community that don't want it. They don't want the recognition. What they want is for everybody to step up and give them the equipment and resources they need to continue doing what they love to do, and that's help and save other people.
We did not get to talk about any county business during this visit here today,
Well,
but it's really, really important stuff.
Just one note I want to actually put in there. So, there, as I said about the requirement of who's actually required to have it, put the service in, I will tell you that we're not only facing it here, but other counties are facing it. So, myself and other commissioners from nearby counties that are joining us, we're actually formed kind of a consortium. We're actually sitting down and meeting, and we're discussing everybody's ideas of what we can do to help the local governments make this happen, because nobody else is going to do it. Try to get 38 municipalities together to discuss this. I mean, that's our challenge. That's our challenge in Indiana County. Those others, they face the same challenge, and we as commissioners from other counties are sitting down and going to figure this out. I don't know how at the end of the day it's going to pan out, but we're going to do our best because we understand and realize that it's a service we cannot lose.
Is there a new urgency because of what happened in Ohio for you all to get together?
No, and actually, Todd, that what you saw in Ohio, that affected that town had 5,000 people. Mm-hmm. Now, just take Indiana, 15,000, White Township, 15,000, 5,000 people in that town. And look at the effects, or look what you're hearing coming from your local, your state, and your federal. Look what's happening there. Those people, they don't know which way to turn or who to talk to.
Yeah.
That same rail system comes through southern Indiana County.
Yeah.
Isn't that scary?
Yeah, it really is, and it really demands that we have a further expanded discussion on the entire topic,
Yes.
which we will do then. I promise. I promise. All right, we'll make it happen. Thank you all for coming today, though. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
It is the
Todd.
voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Fox News coming up next top of the hour. We follow that with news from the WCCS newsroom with Jake.